Hey you guys, it is your girl EP and welcome to my channel. So hey you guys, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new here, welcome back. I know that if you're not new here, then you've probably seen some changes on my YouTube page. Namely, I removed all of my makeup content because I am shifting what this YouTube channel is going to be for me. And to celebrate these shifts and these changes in my life, I decided I would come here, and my first video for 2022 was going to be my post-op follow-up for my duodenal switch surgery. Yes, y'all, I realized and recognized that I haven't really done a video over here since I talked about my VSG journey. So this all started as a VSG journey. I will link the video somewhere here on the screen or maybe down below. But a lot changed since I initially decided I was going to get VSG, and what ended up happening was I got the duodenal switch surgery, which is like the next step above gastric bypass. So if you follow me over on my socials, namely Instagram, I've been really in depth and transparent with this journey over there, as well as on my blog, www.apyoungblog.com. And essentially, in short, I started out on this journey in 2019. I had to reach a weight of 400 pounds to get surgery with DeKalb. Emory DeKalb. It didn't happen. I couldn't get to 400 pounds on my own. I went from 500 to 460, but it wasn't enough. Eventually got to like 440 and some change. It wasn't enough. So inevitably, after 2020 came through and surgery hadn't happened, I had to switch gears and pivot. I tried my hardest to lose the weight that I could on my own, but it just didn't happen. And eventually, by the end of 2020, I had gotten into contact with Beltline Bariatrics and was accepted into their practice. Had my first consult with Dr. Charles Proctor, that May of 2021, and I had surgery by August 20th, 2021. I became an official loser bench a participant. The whole entire journey was just a lot. It was a lot. And I'm not going to get into it because I've actually discussed it pretty thoroughly throughout this process. So if you guys really are that interested in the background and the history, then go on ahead, head over to the blog, head over to Instagram. It's Mrs_AP_Young. There's IGTV videos, and there's even a vlogumentary that I did that was like the 2 weeks prior leading up to my surgery, and then, you know, a month after, what that was like for me, and the first couple of days after. So now we're just here to kind of talk about progress and where I'm at. Today, what is today? Today is January 5th, 2022. You guys, we are into an entire new year, and it is wild. I feel like time is just flying by. This process did not feel like it flew by, but time is just flying by. And I had surgery, like I mentioned, on August 20th, 2021. So I'm about 4 months post-op. On January 20th, it'll be 5 months. And I had always said I would do this official follow-up video when I either hit my 6 months post-op or if I lost my first 100 pounds. And I stepped on the scale today at weighing in at 346 pounds. Your girl officially lost her first 100 pounds. You guys, it feels incredible. It feels incredible. It feels phenomenal. And not maybe for the reasons that a lot of people think that it might be. Honestly, I was in so much pain all the time, and I was really open about that. I have osteoarthritis and I have hypothyroidism. Both cause inflammation. The osteoarthritis is really painful though, and you know, in order for me to get to the point of hip replacement, I needed to have weight loss surgery. To alleviate, by the 20-30 pound mark, the pain was starting to lessen. So to be able to alleviate the excruciating pain I was feeling, for the inflammation to be reduced, all of those things has been more than what I could have asked for. I knew that the excess weight was exacerbating my circumstances. I've always been very open about that. I'm not one of those people who's like, fat has nothing to do with health, blah, 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 because it's not true. It does not always affect people's health, but in my situation, it was. And so to be in a space where my health is doing better in terms of my lab work, in terms of my stamina, in terms of my strength, in terms of my pain relief, I am absolutely grateful. I know there are a lot of people who kind of view surgery as like this quick fix. It's none of the above. And I have encouraged this entire journey. Don't do this without therapy, without some kind of support, but definitely therapy, because it's not just what happens to your body physically, it's what goes on mentally, emotionally. It's an arduous journey. It's a hard journey. It's a tough journey. And if you have any kind of decent insurance, you're not getting surgery overnight. Most insurances require at least 3 to 6 months, sometimes 9, sometimes a year of nutritional visits. So through that process, you're learning a whole new way of eating. You're learning how to feel your body. You're learning what things you can and can't do, because there are limitations after surgery. And you're learning about all the things you're going to need to do in order to adhere to or keep up with your health, including your vitamin intake and getting enough of the foods that you need, especially if you have had a malabsorptive procedure, which is what I had. So not only is your stomach restricted, you're not taking in, or you're not digesting as much as what you might be eating. You're only getting like a third, I think. I don't even know if it's really a third. I'm making up numbers here, but you're not getting the whole percent of what you eat. So malnutrition can be really severe, and like deficiencies can be really real if you don't follow what your surgeon and your nutrition are telling you to do. So it's really important to understand that this journey is not this quick and easy fix like a lot of people may think that it is. So what has happened in 4 months post-op? Well, to start, I was struggling with issues with my glucose levels being a little elevated in the morning. Not enough for them to consider me pre-diabetic. My A1C was always normal, so I wasn't even considered diabetic, but it was something that I was really concerned about, developing insulin resistance, especially because, as you guys know, I have no thyroid anymore, and the hypothyroid patients tend to lean towards insulin resistance, and then leads right into diabetes. And I did not want to add another health issue to my laundry list of things that I had going. So the health benefits: within the first 2 months, I was able to come off of my blood pressure medication. I have seen my A1C was great, but now my morning glucose numbers are within range. They're normal. The swelling and the pain and the inflammation in my hands and my feet, gone. Ankles, gone. And a lot of that was becoming alleviated anyway, because I was working out. I was already doing the work prior to surgery, but it's just gotten better. But the most significant thing is my mobility, you guys. Like, I haven't had to use my rollator since I first came home from the hospital. So in 4 months, I haven't used my rollator. I still use a cane. I'm moving faster. My stamina is even better on the bike, which is what I had started using to kind of like start my wellness journey, my fitness journey. And I'm walking around more. And the other day I got to go to the arcade with my kids and play with them and go bowling. And it was absolutely amazing. I have felt very imprisoned by my body because of the lack of mobility, and I've been very open and very honest about that as well. I know a lot of people assume that, you know, oh, you were looking in the mirror and you just wanted this change. No, you know, I'm still fat, right? I weigh 346 pounds. I'm still fat by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody's signing up to say they want to be 346 pounds unless they are larger than me, right? But to have my mobility be so much more better than what it was then at a higher weight, like, that's what I cared about. And I think I look great. I mean, I thought I looked great before, but I think I look great now. So I am not keen on the idea of being like super thin. Like, they told me that I'll probably end up between the 150 and 180 poundage. And that's scary to me. I've never been below 200 pounds in my adult life. And I don't know that I really want to be. So that's something I'm still contending with, something I'm still working through in therapy. And what I've decided to do, instead of focusing on, you know, trying to get to 180 pounds, I'm focusing on getting my body to feel the best way that it can by incorporating strength training. I just partnered with Blueprint Aesthetic to start my, you know, strength training and fitness journey, because I've never given the investment in myself to optimize my body in the best way possible, in the way that it feels. And so for the first time in my life at almost 37, I want to do that. So that is where my mind is at. It's like making sure that my body is functioning optimally, because after this whole shebang with like chronic illness and arthritis and the thyroid disease and all of that stuff and the fibroids and everything that I've gone through, I truly recognize how important this vessel is that is carrying me through this life. I have to hit a target weight of 330 pounds in order to be eligible for hip replacement. I'm at 346, y'all. I'm like 16 pounds away from that, and that's amazing. So if I continue at the pace that I'm going, like I could be having surgery by mid-January, I'm not going to say mid, but maybe end of January, beginning of February, depending on how it goes. And so I do my best to adhere to what my doctors have asked of me, because that is the goal that's in my mind. Like the doctors are like, yeah, hitting 150 pounds would be great. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to hit 330 pounds, baby. And I'm getting this hip replaced. And that's as far as I've let my weight goals go, because I don't want to become so obsessed with the scale that I'm like, oh no, I have to get to 100 pounds. I have to get to 150 pounds. Like, no, my one goal throughout this whole entire process, the whole time, was to get hip replacement. Does that mean that after hip replacement, I'm going to give up on taking care of myself the way that I'm supposed to? No. I literally have a designer tummy now. Like, they've rerouted my entire plumbing. They've, changed my stomach. Everything has changed. I have to care for it now in the proper way. So it won't be a thing of now, that I've gotten my hip replaced, I can just let it all go. No, I still have to do the things that are required of me to maintain my health. And I'm so glad that things happened when they did. At the time when I was initially rejected for VSG by the cab, I was so hurt. I felt so defeated because I felt like a failure. But I realized that things happened in the time frame that they needed to, because it gave me more time to really pour into myself and my mental health care and my emotional health, and really learning discipline. And it's working in my favor right now. And that I'm truly grateful for. So while the process and the journey took much longer than I anticipated or even wanted it to, there were pluses to that. And I'm glad that things happened in the way that they did. Having this surgery wasn't like all gravy. It was hard. And in my Vloguumentary, I talk about, the difficulties of the anesthesia and getting up and having to walk right after and trying to sip caps of water, little medicine cups of water. Like, it was challenging. And the fact that I've had so many conversations with people and they're like gung-ho, everybody wants to run to the table and get weight loss surgery because they think it's easy. And then when I start to ask questions like, well, what have you done to prepare? Are you in therapy? What's your relationship with food like? Do you think you're a food addict? Because I definitely had a food addiction. And it's something that it became like emotional eating for me. I went from binge eating as a teenager to emotional eating, and carried a lot of bad habits with me into adulthood because I hadn't learned proper coping mechanisms. So these are all things that had to be addressed before I could have surgery, because if you keep the same mindset and go into surgery, nothing's going to change for you. You're just going to make yourself sick. You're going to be unhappy, and eventually when that year of post-op changes and things begin to plateau, you'll put the weight back on. So what was the point in the first place? So that is the one thing that I would really like to stress to people who are watching this, who are considering weight loss surgery. I'm not for or against it in terms of other people and their body. I am for you making sure that you care for yourself in the proper manner so that your surgery and your process can be a success. I definitely wish that, I didn't have to have surgery. If I could have lost the amount of weight that I needed to on my own to get to hip replacement, I would have much rather preferred that. There are still days where I feel guilt despite the fact that I'm reaching my goals and I'm accomplishing it, but it's something that I'm working through. Because unfortunately for me, as much as diet culture is thrown in our face and it's quite normalized, there's still a community of people that I was, assigned to because I was plus size. And there are a lot of people who have shared negative thoughts with me regarding, weight loss and how weight loss surgery and how it's bad, and it sends the wrong message and it's a quick fix and blah blah blah. And while I can understand aspects of the things that those people have had to say, I had to look at the total picture. And I would encourage you to do the same thing if it's something that you're considering. There's so much information out there but you need to understand your bigger picture, what's going on with your health and what's really right for you and your body. And other people just don't have the answer for that, and that's okay. In all, you know, the first couple of weeks after surgery, I had so much regret, and 330 pounds felt so far away. The things that people don't necessarily talk about is like there's a stall like 4 weeks out. I hit another stall 3 months post-op. Like I just started losing again as I rolled into my 4th month. Your body is adjusting to its new way. And so it's kind of like in fight or flight mode. Like, listen, you're trying to take away from me, and you've been at this larger weight for so long, your body thinks it needs it. So it tries to hold on to the weight for a little bit. And you have to keep sound of mind and keep going with what you know you need to do, and not freak out in the process like, oh no, this is a fail. Because if you don't, it is a downward spiral, and that's what you don't want. You want your process and your journey to be really healthy and healing. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have moments. Did I have moments? Definitely. Have I cried through this process? Absolutely. Did I hate the sight of food in the beginning? Absolutely. Did I develop food aversions? Oh yes. Was I scared to eat certain things because of the fearful dumping syndrome and me listening to everybody else and not even realizing, like, with the procedure I have, dumping syndrome is typically not an issue. There was so much going on all at once. And in the meantime, my body is changing rapidly, very quickly. And I wasn't, you know, as much as I tried to prepare, I wasn't prepared. So my motto, of course, is taking it one day at a time. And letting each day be what it's going to be. I'm not the perfect patient. I have days where I don't meet my macro goals or eat enough because it's hard. I don't have the typical hunger cues. There's limitations on how much I can eat. I get full even when I choose slow, swallow slow. And if I'm too busy or I get busy or I get distracted, like I forget to eat. Not eating enough can hurt you. It can have adverse effect on your malnutrition and vitamin deficiencies, and it can even slow down your weight loss. So it's like this balancing act that you have to learn. And I have to get out of my perfectionist head where like I need to be able to master everything immediately, like, because that was me for a really long time, and it still is. Am I working on it in therapy? Absolutely. But is it a part of this journey? Yes. So I'm having to learn to just accept each day for what it is. And if I have a bad day or I don't meet the goals that I set forth, it's okay. Tomorrow's another day. And I need to remind myself, like, it's only been 4 months since surgery. Why are you expecting to be perfect at this? It's not reasonable and it's not realistic. So yeah, like I just wanted to come here and not talk you guys' head off too long. I just wanted to like recap what's just been going on for the last 4 months and to just really take a moment to honor myself, honestly, and celebrate a moment of hitting my first 100 pounds in this journey, because it's put me so much closer to this goal of having hip replacement, and I am ecstatic and I am elated about that. And I'm hoping that anybody watching this who is in a similar position as me, or maybe going through things that you can't quite talk about with your family, or you just feel alone and isolated in your circumstances, you're not alone. And I'm looking forward to continuous healing, and I'm looking forward to never taking my mobility for granted again, never taking movement for granted again, not viewing working out as a chore when really it is a privilege to move your body. You never know what you have until it's gone. And it's a cliched saying, but it's absolutely true. When you wake up with mobility and you use it every day, you don't even stop to think that, like, I have functional working legs. My arms work. My eyesight works. My mouth works. Everything works, you know. Do you have hiccups? Are we imperfect? Yes. But until you lose it or it becomes limited in some way, you can take it for granted. This is giving me a new lease on life. This is giving me a new opportunity at life, and I am here for it, and I am grateful for it, and I intend to do the most with it. So if you see me on your timeline and you find yourself annoyed by my joy, unfollow, because I deserve this. And I think other people deserve it too, however you have to get it. But I will never ever again allow myself to feel shame or guilt for doing the thing that I needed to do to jumpstart my life again. And it's priceless, baby. So yeah, thanks so much for joining me on this journey. I'll do check-ins as life goes on, but you know, for now I've hit that, you know, big goal. I'll probably check back in on this tip when it's time for the hip replacement, because that is that is it. That is going to be the moment, right? And of course, I want to document that and share what that's like, and really speak to the aspect of, you know, going through this hip replacement. I'll be 37 in a couple of months. So yeah, and just always staying true and honest and transparent in my journey. But I thank you guys so much who have been supportive, who have shared your encouraging words, thoughts, ideas, referred me to different places. You guys have been amazing. So I hope that in turn what I can give back to you is, you know, encouragement and information that could be useful to you as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining me. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to stop here. And I hope you guys are here for the ride and the changes that are coming with AP Young's channel here on YouTube. As always, you guys, mwah, thank you so much. Till next time.